Welcome to Gamma Omega Corp, solar leader in innovation, development, communications, and space habitation technologies, chimed a velvet feminine voice. The pristine and polished elevator doors slid open to reveal a clean metallic hallway, illuminated by warm neon lights. Neon was abundant in the atmosphere of Jupiter. Gamma Omega Corp siphoned the gas from the atmosphere using its many unmanned harvesting drones. I proceeded down the hallway, each step reverberating against the dense metal walls. This was to be my first day on the job. I had only recently graduated from Gamma Omega's very own Innovation Academy on Titan. I studied psychology and management, specializing in human resources. I'd hoped to land a job as a shrink at Gamma Omega's Psy-Corps that specialized in developing personalized implants to improve people's moods and mindset. I had reached the end of the hallway and I nearly smashed into the door. I extended an arm to prevent myself from getting a nasty concussion. That was strange. These doors usually open on their own. I looked up at the dark, semi-opaque glass where I knew a concealed camera and motion detector were located. I waved my hand at it a few times. Nothing happened. I stepped back, then approached the door again. Maybe it was bugged? Still, nothing. I decided to try the digital panel on the right of the door to see if I could open it that way. I tapped the screen, and the same velvet voice chimed in. Welcome to Gamma Omega Corp, solar leader in innovation, development, communications, and space habitation technologies. I am Eris, Gamma Omega Corp's flagship artificial intelligence management and adjutant system. How may I assist you? Hi, I'm William Nates, the new intern for the compliances department. I'm just trying to get to the office right now, I said. Please proceed directly down this hallway, Eris said. A mechanical whirring and hissing sound could be heard. Normally that would be accompanied by the doors sliding open like sideways eyelids. The doors in front of me did not move at all. Nothing happened, I said. Please proceed directly down this hallway, Eris said once again. Eris, the doors are still closed. I was getting slightly exasperated now. Please proceed directly down this hallway, Eris repeated. Ugh, this is pointless. Eris, show me a map of the station, I said. With pleasure. We are currently on Itos Station. Itos Station is Gamma Omega Corp's state-of-the-art geosynchronous interatmospheric orbital hub designed to house and sustain 5,000 pioneers in the dense atmosphere of Jupiter. Itos Station comes fully equipped with... Eris, just show me the map, I said, now supremely annoyed. Loading map of Itos Station, Eris replied in her velvet voice. A simple line map that outlined the structure, rooms, and hallways of Itos Station appeared on the panel. Itos Station was like a series of many donuts of decreasing size inside one another, with a giant rod passing through the central donut. There were 4 main parts to the station: the bulkheads, the residential district, the life support systems, and the control pods. In theory, the bulkheads were to be used as cargo holds or a place to store waste until it would be jettisoned out into Jupiter. They were designed to absorb impacts from stray stellar objects and were not designed for habitation. It was decided, however, after an optimization operation by Gamma Omega's board of directors, that the bulkheads could be used as an opportunity to attract the less fortunate citizens of distant Earth to become pioneers and to start their life anew on Itos Station. That is, it cost a lot of money to live on Itos Station, and we either paid for it with labor or with credits. But to be able to get to Itos was like making it to Titan. Titan is one of the few successors in terraforming humanity has had in the past few centuries. Earth is not a good place to be right now. I can understand why poor people would risk life and limb to get away from it. I studied the map carefully. There was a helpful pin that showed where I was on it. According to the map, there was also a maintenance hatch in the same hallway that followed the same path as the hallway. If I followed it all the way down, there would be a hatch right outside the compliances department that I could use to get out and finally get to my job. I glanced at my Gamma watch. It read 745 hours, Itos station time. If I didn't hurry, I was going to be late. Eris, please open maintenance hatch 3639, I said. Sorry, you do not have permission to authorize such a command, William Nates. I will call for maintenance personnel immediately, Eris replied. Estimated wait time, 30 minutes. 30 minutes? I'm going to be late. Work starts at 800 hours, I replied, now very vexed. Sorry for the inconvenience. Please wait patiently. Help is on the way, Eris responded, in the same velvet voice. Would you like to listen to some music while you wait? Eris pushed on. You can choose from a selection of contemporary cyberpop, retro millennium, and Terra rap. I ignored Eris. Classic corporations and their soulless facades, always urging patience and compassion when, in reality, they are the ones perpetuating and perpetrating the very sins they preach against. I looked at the maintenance hatch that was on the left side of the doorway. Printed on it were the words manual override. Pull this lever to unlock, for emergencies only. Well, I suppose this is an emergency. I don't want to get credits docked for showing up late on my first day. Who knows, they might even take away my privileges to reside within the residential district slums. They might send me to the bulkheads. I grabbed the red metal lever and turned it. Clunk, clunk, clunk. The sound of the lock opening up. Click! I had turned the lever to a point where it wouldn't move anymore. I pulled on the hatch's bars and lifted it up. I looked down into the maintenance tunnel. It glowed an eerie and foreboding red, lit up by dim neon lights nearing the end of their lives. I clambered down the hatch awkwardly, my feet catching the rungs of the ladder as I descended into the tunnel. I closed the hatch behind me so no one would know that I had secretly entered the maintenance tunnels. The hatch clicked shut once again. That's when I realized something. Studying the hatch, there was no way for me to open it from within the tunnel, unless I had a key of some sort. How was I going to get out? Maybe there was some way out once I get to the office. Yes, that's right. Let's go, I told myself. The maintenance tunnel was so unlike the pristine hallways above that it was hard to imagine they were part of the same structure. The walls were dark and grimy, betraying rust and corrosion. The floor was made up of a simple metal grill that stood atop of a confluence of pipes, leading to and fro. Okay, just gotta walk forward and find hatch 3649. That would be the hatch I would need to get out at. Each hatch had a number carved into it to help identify where it would open to. I hurried down the empty maintenance tunnel. I didn't want to be here for longer than I needed to. Clunk, clunk, clunk. My footsteps echoed through the vast redness of the tunnels. Then, I heard it. The unmistakable sound of a voice. A real human voice. A woman's voice. It sounded like she was hysterical. Seemed like her voice was coming from within the walls of the maintenance tunnel? That shouldn't be possible. Was I hallucinating? Or maybe just hearing things? Maybe it was the hypoxic environment within the tunnels. I don't know if they bothered installing full life support system here as well. All the maintenance personnel I see are always wearing these big masks and helmets on their face. Maybe that's what they're for. I chalked it up to my imagination and continued to hurry along the tunnel. I needed to get to work anyway. Whoever this was, if it indeed was a person, was probably going to be fine. I kept marching forward and The screams seemed to have subsided. There, see? Maybe they had just fallen down and were reacting in pain. Nothing to worry about. I passed by a ventilation duct, and that's when I heard her voice again. It was coming from the vents. Please, you don't have to do this, she said. Due to your failure to comply with Section 6.42 of the Itos Station Agreement, we will be proceeding with disciplinary action effective immediately, a velvet voice said. Everyone had to sign the Atos Station Agreement before they were let on board. The short rundown of it is that your residency here isn't guaranteed. Either you pay for it with labor or with credits, or be an executive of Gamma Omega Corporation. Please surrender your exchange items now, the robotic voice continued. It was the same voice as Eris. Undoubtedly, it was probably an android controlled by Eris, a compliance bot. We at the compliance office were supposed to process and review cases which we would then pass on to the bots, who we were told would take care of things. I don't have anything to give. I mean, look at me, the woman said. She must be one of the bulkheaders. Paid their life savings to get here. Something must have happened. We may always utilize your spare parts, the android continued. My... what? She replied. According to calculations, this one should still have 25 years and 9 months of productive capacity, and 5 years, 2 months of reproductive capacity remaining, interjected what seemed to be another velvet voice. It was hard to tell. They both sounded like Eris. Understood. According to Gamma Omega Corp policy, it is in our best interests that you continue working for us. However, we will require immediate compensation for the past 3 months of residency, the first robot said. How much is that? Said the woman. Each month of residency in the Bulwark sector costs 10,000 credits. Your stay of 3 months will cost 30,000 credits. However, due to non-compliance of contractual items, Gamma Omega Core will unfortunately have to add a compliance fee and a harvesting fee of 30,000 credits and 50,000 credits respectively. Your total will be 110,000 credits, or 1 soul of labor in the hydroponics sector, the second android stated, matter-of-factedly. I don't have that much. I only have 200 credits. I can barely afford to feed my kids, said the woman. I can work for 1 soul. I'll do that. A moment of silence. Unfortunately, due to your spouse's violation of the previous labor for credits payment system, we are unable to allow you to use this option due to a previous default on payment, the velvet voice continued. What? Mark? I thought he went off station to work at one of the hydrogen rigs, the woman replied, sounding confused. When any individual leaves Itos Station for even a temporary residence at another Gamma Omega Core facility, their contractual obligation will be transferred to their new facility of residence. However, resident 00378978 Mark Harpman transferred to a facility operated by Atom Inc. We consider this a default and violation of our agreement, the velvet voice continued. What? And you never told me? Or any of us before he left? The woman replied in shock. We expect that all terms and conditions within the Itos Station Agreement have been read and understood before applicants sign them, replied the velvet voice. The agreement is 50 pages long, the woman replied, irritated. Let us proceed with the harvesting procedure now, the other velvet voice chimed in. Understood. Wait, what are you doing? What are we harvesting? The woman asked, still irritated and a little confused. The sound of doors opening could be heard, then the dull clunk of metallic feet, more compliance bots, and the sound of whimpering. My kids! What are you going to do with them? Why do you have them? The woman cried out. Residence 00378981. and 00378982 have been agreed to be used as collateral in the incident that payment goes into default, a velvet voice said. Yes, according to initial analyses, resident 00378981 is worth 500,000 credits if dismantled for components, and is worth only 5,000 credits if rented as a labor vessel. Due to resident 00378982's smaller stature, it may be best if we keep this one in cryo-sleep until their components are demanded by a customer, a velvet voice said. I stood frozen next to the vent. Harvesting? Labor vessel? Rented? These bots were talking about kids as if they were products. You can't do this. The woman was now hysterical. There was a brief sound, a scuffle, then a loud bang. Give me back my children! High levels of hostility detected. Restraining force authorized, one of the bots said. More banging and kicking. Then, nothing. Resident 00378979. For assault against Gamma Omega Corp personnel and damages to the facility, you will be administered a compliance adjustment chip, expenses debited to your account. A compliance adjustment chip will cost 400,000 credits, a velvet voice said. Muffled screaming and shouting could be heard. It seems like they must have covered her mouth. Begin the harvesting procedure of resident 00378981. Please awaken the subject, a velvet voice said. What were they going to harvest? Mom? Mom, what's going on? The voice of a young boy could now be heard. Mom, why am I strapped to a table? More metallic clunks could be heard. It was probably the bots walking around. Please prepare the stasis containers for the vital organs. Our clients expect the freshest transplants, a velvet voice said. Initiate harvesting operations procedure. Ensure resident remains conscious until the final stages of the procedure. Studies have shown that freshly harvested transplants perform 88% more effectively than ones acquired from the recently deceased, a velvet voice continued. They were going to kill that boy. I stood still, clutching the grate of the vent for support. My legs had turned to jelly. I didn't want to witness this, nor was there anything I could do to help. Nor could I tear myself away from this scene. A mechanical whirring sound could be heard. Mom, what's happening? The boy said, scared and confused. Officer 213, please perform oral protection procedures to ensure the quality of all parts located in the mouth of resident 00378981. What is that? The boy asked, voice shaking. Please open your mouth and bite down on this, sweetie, said a velvet voice. Then silence. Officer 213, please seal the oral cavity to prevent the dislodgement of the protective device. What sounded like a staple gun could be heard. Two muffled screams seemed to resound within that room. Oral cavity is sealed. Commence harvesting operations procedure. The mechanical whirring sound was now sharp and roared like a hive of bees. That is until it made contact with something soft and fluid-filled. Please ensure at least 85% of circulatory fluid is conserved for sales in transfusion operations, a velvet voice said. Beginning procedure to remove the rib cage. The whirring sound ripped into something hard. Bone, most likely. Muffled screams could still be heard. Begin harvesting of non-critical organ tissue. Remove the bladder and intestinal tract first. Disgusting squelching sounds, punctuated by muffled screams, could be heard. Operation complete. Proceed to removal of the liver and related digestive support organs. One of the muffled screams stopped. Resident has fallen unconscious. Administering stimulants. More muffled screams and kicking sounds could be heard. The boy was probably struggling against his restraints, desperately trying to escape. According to studies done by researchers at the Gamma Omega Institute of Medical Arts, pain is simply an indicator of damage. As a form of stimuli, it is useful in this situation to help us confirm if the operation is going smoothly. Sedatives will also degrade the quality of both the circulatory fluid and the organs obtained. Please understand and have patience. The operation will be finished shortly, a velvet voice said. More whirring and slicing sounds could be heard. Kidneys have been removed and placed within the stasis pods. Please proceed to the final trifecta of organs. The heart, lungs, and brain must be removed at the same time. Please preserve scalp tissue. It is a valuable commodity amongst affluent male clients, aged 45 to 80. A grinding, crunching sound could now be heard. Neural cavity breached, brain exposed, commencing removal. The muffled screaming from the boy had stopped. The muffle of the voice of the mother seemed to have transitioned to tears and whimpering. I slumped down onto the ground next to the vent. I couldn't believe this was happening. Here, of all places. Clunk, 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 clunk. The sound of the hatch opening behind me alerted me to the presence of someone new. Thump, thump, thump. Approaching me was a maintenance personnel. He wore a large mask and helmet. You shouldn't be down here without a respirator, the man said, his voice filtered by his helmet. He pulled me up and walked me back to the hatch. Hatch 3642. I clambered up the ladder rungs, shaking with each step. I pulled myself up into the pristine hallway of Itos Station. Did all of that just happen? Have you ever heard voices while you were down there? I asked the maintenance guy. Oh, I can't hear a thing with this helmet on, he said. He moved to remove it from his head. There, all better. No, you were probably hallucinating. The maintenance corridor isn't covered by life support systems. Then, maybe I was hearing things. Thanks, I said to him. I walked over to the door at the end of the hallway, and it opened up this time. Welcome to Gamma Omega Corp, solar leader in innovation, development, communications, and space habitation technologies, chimed a velvet, feminine voice.